What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to the very first episode of Rockin Robbie Live in 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. How you been doing? How's it been swinging? How's it been hanging? All that jazz and more. Happy to be here tonight for Rockin Robbie Live. Let me adjust the brightness. Forgot to do that. How is everybody doing? Hope you had a good time during the break. We kind of polished some things up a little bit, but we are here again. What is up, everybody? Tonight, we got a great show. This is the show where we talk about movies, comic books, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We'll be looking last week. We'll be talking about our favorite comic books. We'll be talking about what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. I will be continuing my Kung Fu movie journey, guided by the ever knowledgeable hand of Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics. We'll be talking about Iron Monkey. I'll be talking about Cobra Kai Season 4. We'll be doing Marvel in the 80s. It's Wolverine-centric. And we got a special surprise for tonight, y'all. So happy to see everybody here. Even though we got a great show planned, this show is fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to talk about? I do want to mention real quick that you should join the Facebook group, PCP Army. It's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter over at the Rockin Robbie. Check us out at popculturephilosophers.com. Merch links and all that stuff in the description down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so with Super Chat or over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Patriots, one and all. How is everybody doing? I haven't done this in a couple weeks, so hopefully we'll have a good show tonight. What's coming up, though? Well, join me over at the EXP tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central Time. I'll be chatting with Rex and John from Dynamic Forces. They got some great comics for sale. It's always a great time there. And don't forget to visit dynamicforces.com, enter Robbie at your cart if you want to purchase something. You'll get 10% off. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, PCP Movie Night returns for the 2022 season with our first movie of the season, but also on a new night, Monday nights. We're bringing back Movie Monday. Every Monday night, we'll be chilling, talking about movies on PCP Movie Night. Join us tomorrow night for discussion on Brazil. And Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night, we're going to be talking about Lake Placid. We recently lost Betty White, so we figured, why not? Let's just do it, right? So anyway, that's what's coming up. How is everybody doing out there? If you're in here, say what's up. What's up, Chill Out Man? What's up, Fargate? Says Cowboys move up to the 3rd seed, and we got the 49ers at home in the first playoff game. All right, y'all. It's time for me to do this one more again. How about them Cowboys? 12-5 ain't too shabby. It's been a little bit up and down. I understand, and we beat up on the B team for the Eagles last night. But let me just tell you something. I'm proud of my team this year. How far we will go in the postseason, who knows? From this point forward, it's 0-0, right? So, you never know. You never know. Thank you for the update, Fargate. What's up, Jorm? Says pop, pop, boom. That's right, everybody. Ticking like a time bomb. What's up, Manny's? Different perspectives. Is that are you just effing around, or did you rebrand? What's the deets, my homie? We got Brando in here from Comics Kings. We got Choco's 26. We get the Cerebros. What's up, Verno? Damn, between Manny's new channel name and Robbie's new logo, I feel like I need to make a change. Change. We could all use a little change, right? What's up, Eli? What's up, Billy? What's up, Oh Brother Comics? Bring the philosophy. You know it, Joram. What's up, Evil Face Bad? What's up, Nick from Comic Culture? What's up, R. Ariaga? What's up is the artist formerly known as Jesse. Say, what? Station. Hell yeah. What's up, Perry? What's up, Luke Meister? I'm Basket. What's up? Good evening, Robbie. Detective Now Weekly. Detective Comics $5.99 cardstock cover. Compared to Spawn, it's still $2.99. I know, man. I know. Detective Goes Weekly. That sucks. The book itself, not too bad. We'll talk about it a little bit on the DC sneak peek, but you're going to follow up a Batman event with another Batman event. Oh, and this time it's weekly. In addition to everything else, this is one of those weeks where If you really want to stretch and consider Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes Batman-centric, because Batman's in it, right? Right? Like, everything is fucking Batman-centric this week from DC. It's pretty crazy. Most everything, pretty much. Dun-dun-dun. Hey, what's up, Joe? I'm still in shock over Bob Saget. What happened with Bob Saget? Don't fuck with me, Joe. What happened with Bob Saget? I'm confused. Something happened with Bob Saget. Oh, man, Bob Saget passed. Oh, dude, that sucks. Really? You know, he was in my town not too long ago. Yeah, man. Oh, my goodness. That sucks. I liked Bob Saget. I mean, I liked his comedy all right, you know, and of course, Full House. Grew up on that. So, man, station identification for Bob Saget, man. That's rough. Man, I hate to hear that. All right. Spilio says, go Bucks. What's up, Mod DJ 8000? Saget did a show in Jacksonville last night, too. Yeah, he was in this town. Man, I wanted to go see it, too. I mean, but I didn't. Yeah, age 65. Wow. That's pretty freaking crazy. All right, well, it's like, where do you go from there, you know? You're starting the show, trying to kick off the new show of the new year, and everybody informs you that Bob Saget, America's dad, basically in the 90s, has passed away tragically at the age of 65, found in an Orlando hotel room. So, well, where do you go from there? Well, you go into the first six. So, Bueller famously does the first five and the final five. We don't want to copy Bueller, so we do a first six and a final nine. So let's get into it. When last we did this, we were going through my Blu-ray collection, and we ended at Hostel. So next is obviously Hostel Part 2. I don't care what anybody says. I really like this movie. I like Eli Roth. I like the Hostel films. I like both of them. I haven't seen the third one because he didn't direct it, but Dylan tells me it's good, but that don't mean too much, Talk about Italian horror, though. Let's talk about House by the Cemetery. Got the lenticular slip right there. Love this movie. It's not my favorite Fulci film, but it's decent. Bob? Is Bob in this one? Or is Bob in The Beyond? See, sometimes I get them confused. Anyway, The Beyond's the one I really, really like, and so is City. Anyway, House by the Cemetery, Lucio Fulci, good movie. There's House with a clock in its walls. I have this film in my collection because when me and Dylan did the Eli Roth show early last year, I decided I would buy all of the Eli Roth films because there weren't that many, and I had a lot of them already. And this was a part of it. This is an Eli Roth film. I still have not watched it, so maybe I need to do a Sunday morning movie review for that one. There's The Howling, Scream Factory Edition. Of course, I don't have the slip, but that's okay. Still got the movie. That's a great movie. We covered that for Horror Fest. And here's a movie I haven't seen in a while, Hulk. I was actually thinking when I pulled this out, I was like, I haven't seen this movie in so long. It would be interesting to reevaluate this movie because there's a lot about this movie I appreciate, but there's a lot about it that they just don't really get right. But it'd be interesting to see how it views today. And then, of course, after that one, we got the Incredible Hulk, the second MCU film, the basically like the forgotten MCU film. Everybody always, this is a pretty solid freaking movie. I still think Ed Norton was the best Hulk we've gotten cinematically. I know that's anathema to say because everybody likes Mark Ruffalo, but really love this. And look at that. Lenticular slip and the green Blu-ray case. They were getting gimmicky, and I ate that shit up. So that's the first six tonight, presented by Robbie's Blu-ray collection. Hostel is hurt porn. Well, I know that I've never heard hurt porn, but I've heard the torture porn. Yeah, I get it, but I think it's a valid thing. So I could go on and on and on about like horror movies and the wave of interest and the shifts in the way that horror movies are set up and portrayed. And I could go into a post 9/11 type vibe that leads us to movies like Saw, that leads us to movies like Hostel, right? And so that is a very response to something of a visceral societal nature that happened, right? And you could look at some of the films that are post-Vietnam. You could look at the films in the 80s. They're really kind of speaking on excess and things like that. But like, look at the Atomic Age films. Look at the Great Depression post films and shit. So societal upheavals and change or whatever, or bad times, they produce these kind of films. And I think that the torture porn movement, or whatever you want to call it, which, I mean, it goes back to like Italian days and like all kinds of gnarly shit that you can get into, right? But that rise in American horror cinema was, I think, a response to this post 9/11 type of an age, right? Not necessarily speaking directly to that event. That's not what I'm saying. But one of the reasons, for instance, say in the post-Vietnam horror films, you start seeing more like body parts and more gore and shit like that. Well, you could look at it and say that's because, you know, everybody's always pushing that envelope, right? There's the nature of escalation and trying to outdo the previous film, where eventually we're seeing like bodies like rent asunder and shit. But also, we got people like Tom Savini in the industry who served in Vietnam and was a photographer or something, I believe. And like saw it, you know, and like a more realistic approach to what they have seen. And plus, wasn't Vietnam like one of the first wars where like full-on footage of like casualties and what was really going on was shown to the American public, like day by day for like the first time in our history? So it was a very crazy experience that produced this kind of a response in horror cinema in America. And that's what you see throughout. So you can kind of track these things. Maybe I should write a book one day. I'd like to write a book one day. We'll see. But yeah, you're right. It is hurt porn. It is. It is hurt porn. Let's see. Best Hulk hands down. Oh yeah, Ed Norton. I love Ed Norton. And like, he played the best Banner. Like, I am a huge fan of, and I have never read through all of the Peter David Hulk stuff. That is a goal of mine. I got a 2022 goal of collecting the entirety of Peter David's Hulk run in print, right? And it's cool because it's like, what, 340 is like the one that's going to be the hardest to get, right? But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I've always wanted to read it, and I want to read it in the old school newsprint. I want to have the issues. I want to have the smell of the 80s. I want to do all that jazz, right? So that's a goal. But what was I talking about? Hulk. I love the Bruce Jones Hulk run, right? I really, really freaking do. And that Ed Norton movie that started Hulk's existence in the MCU as we know it, he played Hulk and he played Banner so freaking well, and it was heavily influenced by that Bruce Jones run that got written off as a dream when dipshit Peter David came back in. As much as I love Peter David, but yeah, I really want to get all of those. I have a meager collection so far. We'll see. I got to get it all gathered up so I can get a list together and then start moving along. Dun 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 dun. Hey, what's up, bro Joe? How you doing? What's up, Atari? Joram says, I'll watch Roth films like Thanksgiving. I would love it if Thanksgiving was like an actual fucking movie. That's the trailer he did for Grindhouse. That would be great. I don't know who that is, Billy. Hamburger Basket says, Hostel and Red Room. Yeah, Red Room definitely has some of those torture porny influences, but it goes deeper than that. Like, Red Room's dealing with like snuff films and what that would look like in the modern day with the dark web and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely got some elements of that, but it goes a little bit deeper into things like Faces of Death and Cannibal Holocaust and stuff like that. And that's really super cool. Oh, thank you, Joram. CMA Thunder says, all crap in my opinion. Hell yeah. Yeah, Billy, that's an interesting one. I haven't visited that one since I was a teenager. It just stirred me. Hey, we got a super chat from Nick, Comic Culture. First super chat of 2022. What's up, my man? Starting the Hulk fund. Happy 2022. Thank you so much. Yeah, we gotta crowdfund that Hulk 340 because it's ridiculously too fucking expensive. So anyway, thank you so much, buddy. right. We really do appreciate that, Nick. Thank you so much. Dedicating to the Peter David complete run of Hulk. Fun. We do have the, thanks to some gracious donations and John Hammertime Holshoe stepping in big, we got the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo funded. Then we're going to be focusing, of course, on the Peter David Hulk run and the trip to Heroes Con. 40th anniversary of Heroes Con. I checked out the list today. Some good names on that list, but I'll be honest, the one I got most excited about was Tom DeFalco. Tom DeFalco, who had more to do with shaping my mind as like an adolescent more than anybody, because I am a hardcore Fantastic Four fan. And Tom DeFalco was doing what I think is a definitive run on the Fantastic Four in the 90s. One of the best all-around runs in the 90s, extended runs in the 90s. His run on Fantastic Four with Paul Ryan, I love the shit out of that, man. It's stupid, I know. Sue wore the skimpy costume. Johnny married a Skrull. Thing gets his face all gnarled up. Reed dies. Like, I get it. Franklin comes back Cable style as Psy-Lord. I get it. It's dumb as shit. But I love that stuff, man. I'm so friggin' excited, man. Heroes Con's a great con. Chris Machalo's there. And, but I can't remember any other. I'm so pumped for Tom DeFalco. I'm not even kidding. Plus, he was an editor-in-chief for a while. But hey, Brando says, Tom DeFalco is such an underrated creator, man. He has slept on, such a great mind, and brought a lot of great perspectives to the FF. What you know about Tom DeFalco's FF, Brandon? Come on, man. That shit's not in a trade paperback. It's not in an omnibus. What the fuck, Brandon? You surprising me, man. That's why I love you, man. Empire Comics is here saying R.I.P. Bob Saget. Absolutely. Station Bob Saget. The last 340 I saw raw for 40 bones, worth it. Yeah, I'd totally buy that shit for $40. I'm looking and like it's hard to find them like raw. First of all, everybody wants to fucking grade it. Like, I want to goddamn read it, right? I got it in an omnibus, but, like, I want to actually fucking, like, have it because I want the complete run. I don't know. I just, like, the Mark Gruenwald Captain America run, I started that one. I got to get my shit in order. I really do. I got to get my comics in order. Chris says Doctor Strange was fantastic. Yeah, story-wise, I didn't really like it that much. I mean, it was all right, but like his artwork was super solid. I remember him on the Gen X days back in the 90s. That shit was crazy. Philip says, Heroes Con, hell yeah, I'm in that area. Looking forward to seeing y'all there. Yeah, it's a great show. I went there in 2019, met a lot of cool people, including Stan Sakai, and then walked along with Stan Sakai down the fucking street into the hotel lobby. He didn't go to the bar, though. I went to the bar. Robbie, I've read every FF comic except the Byrne run. FF is one of my hit. Brandon, that's fucking awesome, man. We should just next time I do it. We haven't done a Fantastic Four related comics revisited yet, but we should. I'll bring you on. But I got one question. First of all, I love that you love the Fantastic Four. That's my jam. Fantastic Four is to Robbie as like Daredevil is to you, right? You know? So like that's cool. But you haven't read the Byrne run? Like what's up? Like that's the, in my opinion, that's the second greatest run of Fantastic Four ever. I'm just curious. Why haven't you read it yet? You should. 100%, bruh. I think that's one of the best Marvel runs of the 80s. You know? I know you'll hear a lot of other stuff. I mean, there's some great runs. I mean, Claremont on X-Men, obviously, and the Miller Daredevil was the 80s, right? That's 80s, sure. And, yeah, man, but come on. That Byrne Fantastic Four is pretty fucking dope, man. But I'm a big Fantastic Four head. Grunwald's Quasar was fun. I got one issue of Quasar in my collection. It's the one, I think it was written by Marv Wolfman, I want to say, but it was like, it's kind of like a sequel to Crisis, where like Barry Allen basically shows up, and the idea is that like Barry Allen, like before he dies, goes to the Marvel Universe after Crisis. It's interesting. Just a rando issue. I got to find it so I can do a Marvel in the 90s on it. Got a G.I. Joe 155 signed by Tom DeFalco and Mystery Larry Hama. 155, that's got to be near the end, right? Is that the final issue? Isn't that the most, like, is it crazy? Like, the most expensive issue of that G.I. Joe run's, like, the final issue? Because the print runs so low, way lower than G.I. Joe's fandom. It's on Marvel Unlimited. There you go. No, I love that Tom DeFalco, Paul Ryan run. Paul Ryan, I unfortunately, we lost him. Paul Ryan's a hell of a fucking artist. I have the entire run of Superman Man of Tomorrow because he started off that run. He did some issues of Flash. Like, I used to follow Paul Ryan. Like, everybody talks about following Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane and Mark Silvestri, and I followed Paul Ryan. Yeah, Larry Hama's going to be there. I got to get him to sign my Wolverine 50. Chris Bachalo, John Beatty, Ron Friends, Bob McLeod. What do I think of Miracle Man? I like Miracle Man. I've never read all of it. I don't necessarily like the fact that they recolored it on the Marvel reprints, but I want to get them. But then I heard that they're doing the omnibus, so that's really cool. And I am excited to see Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham actually, do their stuff. But I have a feeling that they're going to bring Miracle Man into the Marvel Universe proper for some shit, and I'm not necessarily down for that. Didn't Paul Ryan do art in the Darkhold mini? I don't know. Maybe he did. I haven't read that shit since way back. I have like the first 4 issues somewhere, but I have not looked at that stuff since I was a kid when I first picked that up. What happened to the top 10 with Jim? And do you do your own now? No, I actually, here's a funny story. I did my own top 10 comic books of the week before me and Jim partnered up to do the one on his channel. So I used to do it, and then it got to the point where I just was like, you know what? I feel like I'm just kind of repeating myself, and I want to take the effort and put it somewhere else, right? So I quit doing it, and then Jim, calls up one day, and he's like, hey, I got this idea. You want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we had a lot of fun doing it, but he decided to drop it and kind of refocus some effort into building up his channel, trying to refocus into figuring out, like, say, like the algorithm and growing, and stuff like that. And I have much respect for Jim, man. Me and him are very similar. We're super goal oriented. We're a same type at times. So now I love Jim Mint, but he wanted to cut down that video, and that also freed me up to start doing some other things too. And I've refocused some efforts here on the channel. We've dropped some new shows. Robbie's Reads, which is going to be weekly on Friday mornings. We dropped 2 episodes this week just to kind of kick it off. I talked about The Death Ray by Daniel Clowes, and I talked about Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito. And this upcoming Friday, we got Pusey by Daniel Clowes. That's a really fun book. So really excited to be able to focus more effort in there. But yeah, man, unfortunately, it just wasn't something that was working for what Jim envisioned for his channel. So he ended it. But aside from that, me and Jim are still super cool. We still chat, we still talk, and we still got plans on doing things in the future too. But we're both really focusing in right now and trying to hone in on what we're doing and bettering ourselves. So that's really, really freaking cool. I love Jim. He's one of my favorite people. I popped in on his live stream a little bit earlier, man. He's looking slim. He's got slim. It's Slim Jim, man. I love it, man. It inspired me, man. I've actually, I'm not trying to brag, but I have lost like 7 to 8 pounds since y'all last seen me on Rockin Robbie Live. So I feel good. And, I've been re-inspired a little bit by Jim Mint himself. So that's my man. But yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't have any plans on doing my own. Right now, again, I thought about relaunching it, but it was honestly something that when I did it solo on my channel, I felt like I was just kind of repeating myself, right? With my weekly comic book review. And there you go. I used to do like Twitter. I would just release it in a list, So maybe I'll start doing something like that again. But I don't know, man. I'd rather like focus efforts video-wise on something else. And maybe it would work, but I don't know. I lost heart in doing it on my own channel. I loved doing it with Jim just because I love chatting with that dude. It didn't have to be a top 10 video, and I have plans. We have plans to do something eventually. But I just love chatting with him. But if anybody cares that much to know what my top 10 books are each week, I mean, I can start posting it again on social media. You know what I'm saying? So that's no problem. Maybe I should do YouTube short. You know, just like put the list up and like write that down. That might right now you do a YouTube short. Is that supposed to be the thing now? People do that? I don't know. Just amazed. I'm still so old school. If I can't get my hands on a physical copy, I keep looking, says Joram. Hell yeah. Yeah, oh brother, they did just hint at Miracle Man and Timeless, but yeah, that's the problem. I don't think it's gonna work if they try to bring him, force him into the Marvel universe. I don't think that's gonna be a good fit. I mean, what are you gonna do with Miracle Man there that you didn't already do with Sentry there? You know, you didn't really necessarily do anything super groundbreaking with that. You know, so like, I don't know. Sentry was a character that had a lot of potential there. I just realized that we're still on that shorter one there. All right. We're going to switch gears here and start talking about comic books. CMA Thunder says, loved the top 10. Yeah, I loved doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it with Jem. I ain't going to cut something like that together. Anybody that knows me and knows this channel, I fucking hate editing, man. That's why I'm just like, I'm going to stand in front of the camera and talk. Just throw that up on YouTube. Let's just do that, right? In my early YouTube days, those are I followed people that were like that. Am I fuzzy now? Oh, there we are. All right. Sentry took Rogue's chair. I never read that comic. Was that a Chuck Austin book? I have no idea. Hey, John Stout's in the house. What's up? What's up, Don Daly? How are you doing? I see you there. Always appreciated you two together because y'all had such different opinions, and with the spoilers helped me find new books, especially your indies. Yeah, I still cover all that stuff, man, on my weekly comic book review. I cover every indie that I read. I let you know basically in a quick, brief way what I thought about it in a non-spoilery way. But I'll probably start putting up my top 10, at least in like a list form again, like on my socials. I don't do enough on my socials at all. I don't care. It's not, you know, yeah, I'm 40. I don't give a shit about that stuff so much anymore. You know, maybe I should. New Demon Slayer book came out this week in my store, Stories of Water. Did you pick that up? I did not pick that up. I've never read Demon Slayer. Jay Strick's supposed to be letting me borrow the first couple graphic novels to see if I like it. But that was his pick of the week. So Jay Strick's pick of the week was that Demon Slayer graphic novel. I feel that I hate editing. Yeah, me too. Hey, Sleepy Reader 666. What's up, Damien? Appreciate all the kind things that you and Bueller said on the Coffee and Comics video last week, man. I really appreciated that. That was a really freaking great, fantastic episode, by the way. Also because you said so many nice things about me. So thank you. Glad to be of service, Damien. Hell yeah, great channel there too. Hey, we got Nick in the house. Nick Barucci, you know, we're not getting into show and tell territory yet, but since Nick's here, Nick gave me this for Christmas, and it's a Ken Hazer Captain Carrot sketch on a Multiversity #1. Thank you so much, Nick. Everybody tell Nick Station how awesome he is. And no worries, bro. I hope you're feeling better, Nick. I heard that you weren't feeling the greatest. We can carve out some time this week. What's up? Man, I realized I watched your vids and never subscribed. That ends tonight. Well, thank you so much, He Who Remains. He Who Remains unsubscribed. I love it. Love it, love it. Never stop your weekly review. I will never stop my weekly review. As long as the YouTube channel's going, that's going. I have not missed a week in over 5 years. And that's one of the most proud accomplishments of my life. The question is, does Robbie have a new song? Not if we're talking about, like, you know, we're talking about the Hellboy song, right? Yeah. I still have access to the Hellboy song, but, you know, we talked about how we were going to retire the Hellboy song at the end of 2021. And at least for tonight, we're going to hold that true. But there may be like a level. Like if someone super chats this much, or if we hit this much, or something like that. If we hit this many people, like if we hit some kind of milestone-ish type thing, maybe it will trigger the Hellboy song. But for now, it has been retired. We get Joe and Nick chatting in the chat there. You know, when's Joe going to be doing a Dynamite book? I think Joe would do an excellent job on Barbarella. Just going to give you that idea for free, by the way. I don't even know if Joe likes Barbarella. By the way, you'll check Joe out tomorrow night. Joe has agreed to be on Brazil. Found out that Joe is a big fan of Brazil. I'm a big fan of Brazil, so I was like, hell yeah, man, join us. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, y'all. PCP movie night on a new night. So join us because I'm over at the EXP at 5 p.m. Central. That show ends at 7. Take an hour break, eat some dinner, do whatever you do, and then come back at 8 p.m. We're going to be talking about Brazil for about an hour and then doing about an hour of PCP back chat and a little bit of show and tell. It's going to be a fun time. Philip says, it's a bit late, but Philadelphia Volume 3 was my 2021 pick of the year. Nice House on Lake almost took it, but Philadelphia, man, yeesh. I still got to get caught up on that. I've only read the first couple of issues. Oh, thank you, OUG. Because when Kid and Play is on the mic, they're too hype. And they got the too hype shirts on and shit, too. And they're doing the kick step. That's awesome. Yeah, Joe, I totally freaking forgot, because I hadn't seen Brazil in so long. I totally forgot that it was a Christmas movie. Like, I start watching it and I was like, it's a Christmas movie, man. We should have done this fucking during Christmas. God damn it. And I'm starting the year off with it. But I watched it before Epiphany. So I still had my Christmas tree up and my lights. So, I mean, they're still up, but they're just unplugged. Go take them down. It does not take much to take down my 18-inch black Christmas tree. I like the movie Black Christmas. I thought it would be funny to have a black Christmas tree. So it's a black Christmas tree. It's got fiber optic lights on it. It's the total like bachelor fucking apartment life, right? Anyway. Oh, CMA Thunder. Thank you so much for the super chat. Great games today. What do you think of the new NFL format? 17 games, wild card, etc. CMA, I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. I don't like the extra game. I don't like the new format for the playoffs with the extra wild card team and only the bye only going to the top seed. I don't necessarily think I like that, especially in the current world we're living in, where like week to week we got like half of a team missing because they're in COVID protocol or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's a weird stretch to do that this year. But you know what? It's more football to them. Maybe it means more money. But for me, I guess it just means more football. Hopefully it means less injuries, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what I think. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right, we really do appreciate that. Of course, CMA Thunder, thank you so much, everybody, for the support. You don't even have to throw a super chat to support the channel. Just a like, a share, a subscribe, all that jazz and more. Thank you so much. Oh Brother says, really looking forward to the Star Wars High Republic Eye of the Storm. I'm loving Marchion Row and the Nile. Some of the most fun Star Wars storytelling in a long while, says Oh Brother. So now it's just a 90s techno song. You never know. You never know. What's up, T-House? How you doing? Happy New Year. 5 years is a great achievement. Well, thank you so much. Talking about 5 years solid, never missing week, over 5 years of the weekly comic book review. How about them Steelers, Brando? I don't know. I didn't watch any of the games today. Did they win? Did they win and the Colts lose so that they made it into the playoffs? Congrats. Get a little bit more, Ben. Yeah, John, your Niners won. I think that we're going to be playing each other. Cowboys and the Niners. Hey, what's up, Bateman? What's up, Big Rob? Heard you were talking about Heroes Con earlier. Is there anybody that's not on the list yet that you hope gets on the list that you would love to meet? Can't wait for Heroes Con. Yeah, bro, and we should talk then because we're gonna crowdfund up the money, and I want to go, man. So let's go again, man. That's so fun. Robbie's the one that went with me in 2019. He took me there. It's fantastic. I would love for Ed Piscor and Tom Scioli and Jim Rugg to decide to be there because I just want to chat with them. That would be super cool. So I'm really looking for, I want that, you know. But aside from that, just, you know, people I'm into, you know, I mean, there's still a lot of possibilities of naming a lot of names. That would be great to have some people there. But yeah, the one I really want Ed Piscor to go, because I know he's in Pittsburgh, right? It's not too far. He can make it. And Verno's like, there's nothing techno about that beat, bro. It's West Coast 90s. It is, and that's the point. It's something I can rhyme to. Ron V's Graffiti's Wall is a good one. Yeah, I love that book. I've been formulating in my mind a list to do a top 5 Ron V books. But yeah, as far as early work goes, there you go. Graffiti's Wall, like Damien says. Black Mamba is another one to pay attention to, maybe. I've never read that, but I'm going to read it. Yeah, the Colts lost. Holy shit. Well, go Steelers. Hey, Coffee Girl, Espresso Guy. Happy New Year, PCP, Comic Book Therapy, and I can't wait to celebrate with you all in 2022. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. All right, but now it's time to move on a little bit. Let's move on to a discussion about what our favorite comic books of last week were. In fact, you could even say, out of all of the books that came out comic book-wise last Wednesday, the final Wednesday of 2022, what was it? No, it was the first. Yeah, it was the first Wednesday of 2022. Sorry. Forgot what day it was. Anyway, it's time to talk about what your favorite comic book was last week. In fact, what was your pick of the week? And my pick of the week was Dark Knights of Steel issue number 3. First of all, I thought it was kind of slim pickings for the week. There was some okay stuff, but nothing really stood out. But when I started thinking about what I read and what I liked, I had to pick this one as the pick of the week. Dark Knights of Steel is kind of like a high fantasy interpretation of DC characters. But the DC characters, they're not acting like they typically do. Some of them are very true to their character, but they're in completely different circumstances, right? So you could say it's a little bit Game of Thrones, if that's the analogy that you need, but it's a high fantasy tale that's populated by DC heroes. And I'm loving it. Tom King, I think this is one of the best books that he's currently writing right now. He's nailing all of the character traits, and the artwork by Putri is absolutely freaking fantastic. There's some really great character moments here. There's some really great story moments, action moments. The artwork is exceptionally well done and rendered, and I love just the way that it's paced. This is going to be a 12-issue series. I freaking loved it. Dark Knights of Steel number 3. This book to me just keeps getting better. It's taking twists. It's taking turns. It's filled with intrigue. It's got familiar characters in familiar situations, but at the same time, in unfamiliar situations, but totally acting as I think they would. I love it. It's a great Elseworlds what-if type tale. Dark Knights of Steel number 3 was my pick of the week. What did you think about that book? What was your favorite? What was your pick of the week? Seriously, I want to know. Let's see what people say. Got a lot of people just shouting each other out. I love that. I love that love we have here in this comic book community. Officially Unofficial Geek says, pick of the week was Dark Knights of 3. Dark Knights of Steel number 3. Hell yeah. Michael says, what's up? How you doing, bro? Brando says, Captain Marvel wasn't my pick of the week, but it was really, really good this week. Jim Min in the house. Pop, pop. Oh, did I say Tom King? I meant Tom Taylor. Thank you, Verno. Always looking out. What's up, Jim? How you doing, bro? Has Putri done any other comics? Yeah, I've seen their name in other books, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Some recent DC stuff for sure. That's right, Cerebros. Don't forget the boom. Pop, pop, boom. Spawn was a bit disappointing last week. I agree, T-House. It was like I said, every so often, this is what happens. If you want to follow Spawn, every so often, you're just going to wind up getting an issue that you're just like a bunch of people fucking talking that you don't remember who they are, talking about a bunch of stuff that you don't remember what's going on. So, there you go. Oh, the Steelers are eliminated. The Chargers and the Raiders tie. Oh, no. I enjoyed Newburn. It was a bit slow and short, but I really want to know where it's going. That's been a solid book so far going in. And we got a super chat from Two Fat Guys Pull List. What's up? Inferno for the win. Bittersweet and sad to see Hickman go, but it was a fantastic mini. Thank you so much for the super chat and the thoughts. All right, Nick says Magic Order was pretty cool. I like that run. I dropped out of that very early on in the first volume, so I haven't been reading it. I need to get caught up, see if it's good, see what I think. Manny says Arkham City, but I'm not through my books yet. That was a really solid book, though. That was really, really good. What else we got here? Really liking Batman. I really like where Batman is going in Williamson's run, says Oh Brother. I just didn't like the art change in this last issue. Kind of threw it off. Robbie, did I read Monkey Meat? Yeah, I did. I didn't know what the hell was going on, bruh. I had lost. Alias Black and White was my pick of the week, written by Chuck Dixon. 62, that wasn't even on my radar at all. Evil Face Bad says Red Sonja was good as well. It was good this week. I really like Red Sonja. That's been a solid book. Hell yeah, R.I.P. Bob Saget. Heard about that at the beginning of the stream, man. Hamburger Basket says Batman 119 was the pick of the week for him. Okay, now that you mention it, the thank you music is very Belle Biv DeVoe. Yeah, and something I can spit to if I want to. Jim Mint says, about to read No Man's Land. You ever read that? Yeah, bro, I read that shit when it was coming out. It was really cool, okay? So they did the earthquake story, Batman Cataclysm, right? And so basically there was an earthquake in Gotham, and the government decides that Gotham is so corrupt, it's got all these crazy, freakish villains there, and instead of spending money to rebuild it, they're just going to blow all the tunnels and bridges and leave it on its own. So it's like Escape from New York, but in Gotham. And so Batman had to go back to like a very grounded, like in the 90s, Batman kind of got goofy again, right? Like after the darkness that was approaching post Frank Miller, post Tim Burton, Batman had kind of gotten goofy again, right? And he had all these different characters going around, and there was something that just needed to be changed, right? And so what they did was they brought in this earthquake. They did No Man's Land, so that Gotham is now cut off from the U.S. government, from aid, from anything, and it's a lawless land now on its own, in and of itself. And they would bring in different creators to do different stories, but there were 4 main Bat books: Batman, Detective Comics, Legends of the Dark Knight, and Shadow the Bat. Those 4 basically comprised, there was a Batman book each week. So they just had the stories go across those books. So it was a weekly Batman event for 1999. And it was freaking fantastic as it was going on. Some stories are okay. Some stories fucking suck. Some stories are really, really freaking good. Okay? And all in all, I like it. The overall story. Now, had it been done with one vision, it would have really worked more cohesively. But early on, we get some of Greg Rucka's first DC Comics work, and he winds up becoming the main architect. And so from the middle point of No Man's Land, you see it start kind of becoming a bit more cohesive and going in a direction. And it's got some of my favorite Huntress moments. It's got some of my favorite Joker moments, some of my favorite Gordon moments, and some of my favorite Batman moments. So Batman had to go back to basics, right? He doesn't like this, a city in rubble, cut off from all financial aid and any fucks given by the U.S. government, right? So Batman's like got this old school utility belt, and he's like got rope. He doesn't have these crazy gadgets, and it was a really cool approach. And like I said, not every story's going to hit you. Not every story's good, but there's some really great stuff in there, and overall, it's fantastic. In fact, Greg Rucka was able to do a novelization of it, so I have that. It's a novelization called Batman No Man's Land, where he kind of gets to like tie it all together, and it works fantastically well. So me personally, because I was there, because I experienced it, and just what I loved for what it did for Batman at that time, I love Batman No Man's Land. I'm really excited to see what your perspective would be having being someone who is very familiar with Batman and Gotham and the mythology and the lore, but haven't read that, and you're disconnected from the era and the time that it was released. So it'd be interesting to see what you think. And we got a super chat from my man Robbie Bateman. Dark Knights of Steel is my favorite thing going on right now. Hey, we got a $50 super chat. We really do appreciate that, my man. Yo, this shit ain't right. I've been thinking all night. We used to be tight, but all we did was fight. You try to play me, you try to be like me. Some sick and twisted Ewa bitch, yo, please get the fuck away from me, cause I'm untouchable. You better listen closely now, I'm the oracle, coming from the sky with the wrath of the Khan, and the tactic is to lift the woe be gone. You see, I got this funny feeling and it ain't go away. You're fucking with me, see, I mess up your days, and all the days of your life ain't nothing but strife, cause you try to play it cool with your hand on the knife. See the guys that you're wearing, it ain't so appealing, so you better keep your distance while I got this feeling. So back in the like 98, 99, I'm thinking No Man's Land, I'm thinking like that era, and like me and my homie, we were in we formed this Christian alternative rock band called Limit, and then we decided that we wanted to go secular. And we were really inspired by Limp Bizkit, so I wrote that fucking song. It's called Got This Feeling. And it's like so fucking stupid. So I just, for some reason, that was on my mind, and I just started like rhyming it, man. That's what that is. It was a 17, 18-year-old Robbie listening to too much Limp Bizkit writing a song called Got This Feeling. And the hook was like, got this feeling that there's something very wrong here. Waiting for my anger to altogether disappear. I got this feeling that you don't mean a damn thing. You only bring to me the opposite of what I need. I had a homie that stole a bunch of CDs from me one day. And honestly, that's what I wrote the song about. Was silly. Thank you so much for the generous super chat, Robbie, man. You're too kind, brother. Appreciate you, bruh. Manny's different perspectives. We talking variants to a new level. Hell yeah, man. Taking them. All right. Let's look at what's coming up in shops this week real quick. But of course, if you really want the lowdown, go check out Comics with Bueller every Wednesday morning when he drops the what's coming out next week in shops. It's a great video. And I am going by the League of ComicGeeks.com. They seem to be some of the most accurate. My diamond list is actually not updated yet, so let's go ahead and go. We'll go ahead through some DC books because I did not read a lot of DC books this week. So the DC sneak peek when we come back is going to be kind of brief, but I'm sure there's a few that we missed. that I didn't read. But this week in comic shops, we got, and tell me, what are you excited for? We got Detective Comics 1048, Amazing Spider-Man 85, Marauders 27, Dark Ages number 4, The Joker number 11, Fantastic Four 39, Department of Truth 15, Star Wars number 20, Robin and Batman number 3, Batman Urban Legends number 11, Savage Avengers 28, Daredevil Woman Without Fear number 1, focusing in on Elektra, Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 20, Undiscovered Country number 18, Batgirls number 2, I Am Batman number 5, Harley Quinn Eat Bang Kill Tour number 5, X-Men Legends number 10, Future State Gotham number 9, Spider-Woman 18, Hawkeye Kate Bishop issue number 3, Titans United number 5, Stillwater number 12, Devil's Reign Superior 4 number 1, Star Wars High Republic Adventures number 12, The Death of Doctor Strange Bloodstone number 1, The Scorched number 1 from Image Comics, Dark Hawk number 5. I'd be very careful how I said that. Star Wars The Eye of the Republic Eye of the Storm, or The High Republic Eye of the Storm number 1, King of Spies number 2. I liked the first issue of that. Mighty Morphin number 15, The Thing number 3, Wastelanders Black Widow number 3, Justice League vs. Legion of Superheroes number 1, King Conan number 2, Good Asian number 8, Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit number 2, Marvel's Voices Heritage number 1, Pennyworth number 6, The Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 10, Rain number 1, which my homie Jim Mint said some good things about to me earlier. Or I'm assuming that what he said was good. He basically was like, do not skip this one. Maybe he's like, it sucks so bad, don't skip this one. I want to hear what you think. But no, I think it's supposed to be good. Knighted number 3, Inkblot number 15, Savage Dragon 261, Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning number 2, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer number 2, Odin's Eye number 5, that's from Bad Idea, Nyx number 3, Doctor Who Empire of the Wolf number 3, Hell Sonia number 1, very excited for that one. We Ride Titans number 1 from Vault Comics, very excited for that one. Vampyverse number 5, very excited for this one. It's the third time I've said that in a row, because this one on the cover has like an Egyptian-themed Vampirella. An Egyptian-themed Vampirella. Hotel number 2. I'm excited for that one. Transformers, Wreckers, Treads, and Circuits number 4. What else we got? Sonic the Hedgehog, Imposter Syndrome number 2. We Have Demons number 3, that's digitally. Lunar Room number 2. These Damned Kids number 2. Tales Told in Techno Horror season 2 number 1. Phenom X number 3. Distorted number 1. Quad number 1. Judge Dredd Magazine 439. Billy the Kit number 4. Wolf and Heart number 10. Nobody's Child number 5. No Holds Barred number 2. Back issue 133. Devil Tree number 2. Last Session number 2. And let's just go Hard Promises number 3, and we'll end it there. So that's what's coming up in comic shops this week. What are you excited for? What I am super excited for is Hotel Volume 2 number 2. I have read it already. Y'all, if you like Hotel, you're going to be totally getting into that. Hey, we got Bob from Everything Comics here. Good as time as any to take a break. We'll be right back here on Pop Culture Philosophers Rockin Robbie Live. After this quick break, we'll be doing the DC sneak peek. We'll be talking about Cobra Kai Season 4, and we'll be talking about Iron Monkey. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Welcome back, everybody, to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers on a Sunday night, the first episode of 2022, to be exact. Join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. We're also on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie, and you can check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and more. And you can support the channel with a super chat or over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP Patreons right there. I do want to mention real quick that we got Comics with Bueller in the house. Bueller! Station, man. The bus is finished, he says. Big deal, a big milestone for Bueller. I'm so proud of you, homie. I cannot wait to see your life on the road on the Bueller bus. It's going to be a grand old time, yo, man. Grand old time. How is everybody doing? Love the cats on the new graphics. Thank you so much. You know, it's a new year, new me, new show. I wanted to kind of, spruce it up, put a little spit and polish, a little wax on, a little wax off. Speaking of wax on, wax off, we'll be talking about Cobra Kai Season 4 in this segment. We'll also be talking about Iron Monkey. But, of course, we're going to start off with the DC sneak peek. But first, I want to say, join me over at the EXP, The Experience, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Central Time. I'll be joined by Rex and John from Dynamic Forces. They got some great comics and collectibles available for purchase, and it's always a grand old time. By the way, check out dynamicforces.com, and when you're there, check out their Evil Dead 2, Stray Dogs, Dog Days, Tony Fleece, Trish Forstner variant exclusive cover. Fantastic stuff. And if you want to purchase something, be sure to enter Robbie at your cart. You'll receive 10% off. Join us tomorrow night for the debut of the 2022 season of PCP Movie Night when we look at Brazil. Very excited to talk about this Terry Gilliam film, one of my favorites. I'll be joined by Joe Corallo, by Brian. I'll be joined by, of course, Jelani and Brooks. It's going to be a grand old time. That's going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. PCP Movie Night is bringing back Movie Monday. And then Dylan's Horror Show continues on Saturday night around 7 p.m.-ish. We're going to be talking about Lake Placid. Fantastic movie. And now, in honor of Bob Saget, let's have a pause for station identification. And we're back. What's up, everybody? This show is driven, though, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns. Get them in. What do you want to talk about? Back here on a Rockin Robbie Live. I've been sending Bueller messages saying, "Hey man, I want you we should come back on the show. We should have a chat." And he never responds to me. But it's nice to see that he's alive, doing videos, doing live streams, and here in the chat. So, Station Bueller, love you, buddy. I don't know what I did to piss him off. I see a lot of people with the hashtag bring back the Hellboy song. You know, we retired it. No Hellboy song tonight. It's not going to happen. Y'all have been very generous with the super chats, but we're not getting a Hellboy song this week. Sorry. We retired it. I'm a man of my word. I retired it for at least one show. We'll see what happens. If we see more of those hashtags, you'll see what happens. You know, the Snyder Cut got released. You never know the power of the Army. Nick the Comic Nerd, what's up, bruh? Great show today on Blame Fable tonight. Great show, y'all. I dipped out a little bit when you started talking about Drive because I still haven't seen that movie, but it was a great show. I'm the official after party of the Blame Fable Tonight show, y'all. 5 p.m. every Sunday night, Central Time on IG. Check out the Blame Fable Tonight show. And them blackout curtains are important, bro. Oh, Bueller says he misses me. I miss you too, brother. Where you been? We'll be doing there will be a Best Comics of the Month stream this month. I promise y'all. No problem, Bueller. I understand. I'm the same way, man. I honestly am. Emmanuel's here. In yesterday's weekly pop culture philosophers, you forgot about the official announcement of Legion of X by Cy Spurrier. Yeah, I guess I did. But yeah, Cy Spurrier. So there you go. Bring back the Hellboy song. It seemed like everybody wanted to retire it when we were talking last month, y'all. Come on. All the cool kids watch Blame Fable tonight. You're right. We need a new hit, Robbie. Something so epic it will make us all forget about the Hellboy song. Well, here's the thing, bruh. The Hellboy song started as just something that randomly happened. So I can't plan for it to happen. But when the next quote-unquote Hellboy song happens, it's just going to happen, right? The Hellboy song happened because there's a Hellboy poster right there. And I was like, Hellboy. And I thought I did a good job with it. But maybe, well, just saying. John Stout. You never know what's going to happen. But one thing we do know is about to happen is the DC Comics sneak peek. So DC doesn't have a lot of books out this week. Most of them, if not all of them, are Batman-centric. I'll let you know ahead of time, I did not read the Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes. I'm not digging what Bendis did over there, though. But I did do a top 5 Bendis books. And we got a Robbie's Reads coming up that's going to be focusing on an early work from Bendis. Because I'm just not digging the new stuff, and I want to focus more on the positive as we go forward. So I got a very light pull this week from DC Comics, but let's get right into it with the DC Comics sneak peek. First up, we're going to talk about Batgirls issue number 2. It's okay. I'll be honest with you. Like, it's very action light. And the problem with that is that the artwork in this book is freaking phenomenal. It's Jorge Corona, colored by Stern, I believe. It's great, right? As far as the artistic quality of it. The art is amazing in this book. But the story, it's okay. It's intriguing. But 2 issues in, there's been very little action. But there's been dynamic artwork regardless. So hats off to Jorge Corona. But the story's just not doing much for me. It's doing too little and too long. And like I said, just not a lot of action scenes. So I don't know. I may be dropping Batgirls. Then I read Joker issue number 11. Yeah, I like this issue. So we got the flashbacks done. We're back now. And I assume this is the final arc of Joker. We know that Tynan's leaving in April, so we only got a handful of issues left. We're in the final act, and it was a great kickoff to that final act, kind of revealing some things, catching everybody back up, setting things back to a status quo so that we can rush forward to that ending. Really liked it. Plus, we got Common Coley here, Gypsy Common Coley, doing the artwork, who's the artist over at Undiscovered Country. I liked the artwork. I liked the story. I liked the focus. It feels like it's getting back on track now that I feel like it meandered a bit around the middle of the overall story. But now that we're gearing up for Act 3, I dig it. I like that. Then we got Detective Comics 1048, another issue drawn by Ivan Reis. I'm a huge Ivan Reis fan. He's like a modern day Neil Adams. So I love the artwork in this book. But like nothing happens in this book. It's a bunch of explanation, first of all, on who this dude is, who's in charge of Arkham Tower. So if you're not familiar, this is Shadows of the Bat. Batman's gone from Gotham City. Chase Meridian's in town. Nicole Kidman from Batman Forever. She's there working in Arkham Tower. They're trying a new approach to rehabilitation instead of punishment for all the psychotic criminals in Gotham. And obviously it's going to break apart. We all know that. But this was a fine issue. It wasn't like, it didn't lull. It was well executed as far as that goes. There's just nothing really happened. We get a little bit of information about the dude who's in charge of this shit. But like, very little action. Most of the action happens in flashback sequences, which is weird. So I don't know. I mean, it was all right. Like, I was ready to jump off of this book, so I liked it, but nothing happened. So that's kind of a fault, right? But I did like it, if that makes sense. And then Robin and Batman, issue number 3. This is the final issue of the Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen, Robin and Batman. I loved it. I thought it was great. This was the best DC book I read this week. Has a lot of nuance, has got a lot of heart to it. You can think of it basically as Robin week 1 in a way, month 1, year month, month 1. I was like, how did they, year 1, 1 year? Anyway, 0 year? What? Is it year 0? Anyway, Robin and Batman number 3. I liked it, man. I love this Dustin Nguyen art. I love that the ethereal nature of it with the watercolors and everything. I love the emotional ending of this story. This is a Dick Grayson story. It's truly focused on Robin, not necessarily Bruce. It's not even really based on their partnership. This is straight from his perspective. And this is one of the most from Grayson's perspectives we've ever gotten of like the opening origins of when Robin became Robin. Like not like about his parents dying or anything like that. That's obviously dealt with. But this is about like when he puts on the costume, his first week, his first month out there as Robin. And this was a great ending. And the worries we had about the structure with the way that they focused so much on it felt like a side story in issue number 2. The way this ends 100% ties it all together, and it's going to make a really nice, tight, evergreen graphic novel out there on shelves. I only read 4 DC books this week, but that's your sneak peek at what's coming up that I read from DC Comics. Like I said, pretty light this week from DC. Pretty light. Hey, we got Lost in Comics in the house. What's up, my man? My dudes over at Lost in Comics. I was over there for the nomination show for Best of the Year in December. That was such a great show. We got to do it. We got to do a show together again on this channel and y'all's channel. We got to do it again. That was so much fun. Let's talk about Rob Liefeld. Let's get Rob Liefeld on the show. You ever get Rob Liefeld, homie? Please call me. Feel like Tynan's been wandering a bit too much in his books, says T House. I agree, but or at least in Joker. But this starts bringing it back, I think, into where we're going. Hey, what's up, Chuck? Chuck says, man, really some really good comic projects on Kickstarter. Just pledged way too much on a few projects tonight. I don't have any active Kickstarters right now that I'm funding, so throw them out in the chat. I want to know what are you liking. Bob says, just dropped Joker yesterday. Why are you dropping it, man? There's only like 5 or 6 more issues, and I feel like it's like we're gearing up now to the final act. I liked it, man. You might as well finish the run so you can sell it all at once, right? It's the whole Tynan run, right? You'll get like $3 extra if you just commit like $40 more to finish the run. That's bad advice from Rockin Robbie. Love it. Nick says, I'm off Joker now. Just lost interest the more I read it. Well, knowing that it's ending, though, I liked this issue. I thought the last issue was pretty solid, too. Lunchtime in Japan. Enjoy your lunch, Tea House. Robbie, you doing the monthly review show this month? Yes, we are. We're going to be doing it I think it's the last Thursday of the month. Already reserving you for the nomination panel for 2022. You know it, brother. I'm there. Because I need $3 extra, says Bob. Is Rob Liefeld's problem anatomy figure drawing? I don't know. There's a lot to like about Rob Liefeld. We're going to go deep, man, into Rob Liefeld. We're going to do some Rob Liefeld stuff coming pretty soon in the next several weeks into months here on the channel. Like, mostly here on this show. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff in Marvel in the 90s. That is going to be Rob Liefeld centric. Why? Because I have a mission this year. I am going to find out what it is that makes his work and what it is that doesn't make it work. I'm going to find out why we have such a rock star who's so divisive. His feet were always weird to me as a kid. A lot of comic book feet are weird. No, I understand figure drawing. But there's something. Like, honestly, I was flipping through some of the New Mutant stuff just the other day. Really amazed by some of it. I was talking to my comic book artist buddy, Kevin, about when, was it Bob Wyacek or something? When he was inking them on New Mutants, that stuff looks really fucking good, man. Feet kick a lot of ass, JT. I love it when I get the notification of another moderator just handled this, Robbie. Calm the fuck down. What do you think about Lord of the Rings comic books? I've never read one. Are there Lord of the Rings comics? I'd be down to see if it... I mean, I would check them out if somebody did them. Brando says, just finished reading the New Mutants Omni. Really enjoyed it. Which one? Like the Claremont Sienkiewicz type stuff? McLeod stuff? I've never read that stuff. Damien says, Liefeld symbolizes the over-the-top style rejected later on. Here's the thing, though. I don't want to be crucified for saying something like this, but I see, at least looking through those New Mutants issues the other day, because spoilers, but I'm preparing for a Marvel in the 90s, but I was looking through some New Mutant stuff, and I got a lot of Kirby influence out of it, man. Like, not saying that he's Kirby, but I'm saying that he's taken a lot from Kirby. And there are things that we could say about Kirby's artwork that are not right, say with anatomy or certain aspects of the human body or the figure. But when we realize what he's doing now, obviously Kirby was drawing like 6 fucking comics a month, as opposed to Rob Liefeld doing what he was doing. But I'm just saying, there is a giant Kirby influence on Rob Liefeld. And that's something that when I started diving back into the work of the Image founders, discovering how many of them were into Kirby, like Eric Larson, that's obvious, but like picking up on the Rob Liefeld Kirby vibes, picking up on the Jim Lee stuff, on what McFarlane did. McFarlane dedicated the first issue of Spawn to Jack Kirby. You know, I mean, there's a reason for that. Liefeld loved Kirby, so that makes sense. Yeah, there's a big freaking Kirby influence there. Cover C of what, Steph? What are we talking about? The OG with Claremont. Hell yeah, Brando. Gritted teeth all over the place. He wasn't the only one. But yeah, that's a part of it. I also want to do I want to have a chat with Rob. I watched over the weekend, I watched his interview with Ed and Jim over at Cartoonist Kayfabe. And that dude's energy, I don't even know what a Rockin Robbie Live with Rob Liefeld would be like. Like his energy mixed with my energy, mixed with y'all's energy. I think we would fucking blow up YouTube. I think we would just boom, pop, pop, boom. It would all be fucking over. YouTube's done. Why not bring Rob from Comics Explained in? Just have a Rob Observations. Lost in Comics says he has some weaknesses, but his strengths are so strong you can almost forgive the anatomy issues. Here's the thing: there's so many people that will bend and shift and change anatomy for their own purposes. It's about the energy provided, and for its time, Rob Liefeld was providing a fucking energy that I think is something akin to what Kirby was doing. In specific, what Kirby was doing in the 70s, like when he. Like, for instance, say, when he was doing all the shit at DC with New Gods or The Demon or whatnot. But, like, when he came back to Marvel and he's doing Captain America, I'm talking about, like, that kind of energy. That bicentennial energy. Figure Drawing says, Liefeld's early art did have energy. Now he's a trash artist. Yes, but his innate enthusiasm really came through back in the day at times. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that his art today is, no. I would agree. I wouldn't call him a trash artist, but like the Snake Eyes book, I'm fascinated by the final issue because he had a different inker every page, and that fascinates me to see what is inherently Rob and what other people can bring into that. But yeah, 100%, not necessarily, I wouldn't say he's one of the best artists in the biz today. But he's definitely he definitely was a pioneer at a certain point. New Mutants was hot. His style was weird, but awesome, says Kit Cloud Kicker. That energy was awesome. Hell yeah. Speaking of awesome energy, if you're not caught up on Cobra Kai, there might be some slight spoilers coming up in this next little bit. But it's time to talk about Cobra Kai Season 4. Because you know me. I'm a big Karate Kid fan, big Cobra Kai fan, and I'm excited to tell you what I think about Cobra Kai Season 4. All right, so Cobra Kai Season 4 is here. It debuted on Netflix December 31st. Does it overtake Chucky for my favorite series of the year? No. But I did like it. I liked it a lot. Cobra Kai, and I was listening to Jim Ment earlier today on his live stream. Him and Fee got out of it. They thought it dealt too much on the high school type stuff. And I feel that. I understand. Because it does, right? And I always joke that Cobra Kai is the best, like, non-costume Power Rangers shit I've ever seen. But I think there's a lot of focus on the adult story too. So we pick up from where we ended with season 3, where Johnny and Daniel are now trying to have their dojos work together in order to defeat the ultimate villain of Cobra Kai. And John Kreese, of course, has reached out to some help. But of course, it doesn't really go over very well. They got two completely different styles. It doesn't really work. Their relationship in here ultimately peaks at the issue where they fight each other to settle, like the whole thing about what happened at the All Valley tournament in '84 or whatever. And I love that. I thought that was one of my favorite bits, was Johnny tweeting. Miggy's his only follower, but he's like tweeting like, me and Daniel LaRusso one night only. But you also have Daniel teaching Miggy a little bit about Miyagi-Do, and you have that, and then Sam learning some stuff over at Eagle Fang, which I really like too. So that's something that's not sitting well with Johnny. He's now dating full on Miguel's mother, and he's feeling like he's a father to Miggy. And there's some great moments in here. In fact, Johnny Lawrence's character, the character of Johnny Lawrence, has some really amazing points here, man. Like, I still like the first season the best. Like, I don't think any of these seasons have touched it, but the emotional journey of Johnny Lawrence by William, was it Zachbus or something? Absolutely freaking fantastic. There's a moment here where he's drunk, he's defeated, and he's telling Miggy that he loves him, and he wishes he could do good, but he also calls him Robbie at the same time. Man, that was some really cool stuff. I loved their work here. Miggy's journey, though, this season, I wasn't quite feeling it. I feel like it was just kind of half-assed. It just wasn't quite there. So it kind of left me wanting a little bit more from the character of Miguel, who it's Johnny and Miggy's relationship that is the cornerstone of Cobra Kai, right? The other kids, they have some decent journeys. Sam, she's all right. Tori, hot as usual. Hawk, though, had an interesting journey, one that I really liked the resolution of, but the way of getting there, I could have liked a little bit more focus in on that, because I felt like we kept getting this softer version of the character, and the enemy was obviously to a point to build up something. Hawk has had a really crazy journey throughout all 4 of these seasons, and I really appreciate it, but I just felt like if you were going to go this route with him, maybe a little bit more attention, but I like how it all wound up. Also, the young LaRusso kid finally getting some action, that was interesting, but that was time that could have been spent more developing Hawk's story. So I felt like this was necessary, but if you wanted to build up the LaRusso kid, you start doing that even earlier on. They did not do that, and so now we got more of his story, but at the expense of more of a fully developed Hawk story, if that makes sense. Robbie, though, this is the best Robbie's been in the series so far. Robbie's always been kind of cheesy. He has that like 90s haircut. Now he's got the haircut. He's part of Cobra Kai. He's not necessarily falling for all of the John Kreese shit, but he's doing his own thing. Plus, he's now making eyes at Tori, and I'm just going to tell you all this. Tori, smoking ass hot, man. I'm serious as fuck, man. But I really like Robbie's journey here, man. There's some really great moments, especially towards the end of the season, like the final episode. Some really great gut-wrenching type moments there, and he has a great journey in this series, in this season in particular. And then John Kreese, of course, doing the John Kreese type stuff, but he gets a little bit more nuance in this season, which I really like, because there's someone now who he's awakened the giant, Terry Silver. All right, man. I rewatched Cobra Kai season 3, like on New Year's, or on right in that week of Christmas to New Year's, right? And I wanted to be ready for when Terry shows up. I wanted to rewatch it, and dude, Terry is such a just ridiculous villain in Karate Kid 3. And when he shows up, he's like, man, I was so coked out back then. I spent a whole year like tormenting this kid. Like, what the hell is wrong with me over a karate tournament? Like, dude, it's crazy. But John Kreese like reawakens this shit inside of him, man. And it slowly starts coming out. Because at first you're like, Terry, I think I'm on board with you, bruh. I think, okay. Oh, John's big dogging now on Terry. No. Terry's the big villain, y'all. Terry Silver was so great in here. And he slowly starts getting more and more back into that crazy nature, right, that he had in Karate Kid 3. Now, he's obviously not snorting cocaine all over the place, but dude, I freaking loved that journey of like a dude realizing how crazy he was back in the 80s when he was tormenting this damn kid and this old, dude teaching him karate. And he slowly starts like building up, and he is the ultimate villain. And the way the whole season ends, I really liked it. Cobra Kai season 4. I mean, ranking the seasons, I don't know, man. It's really tough. And you're never going to touch season 1. Season 2 was solid. Season 3 I thought was really good. Season 4 is pretty solid too. I'm going to give it a solid 4, you digs. What did you think about Cobra Kai season 4, and how many out of 5 you digs do you give it? So there you go. Third Rail says, never saw it. Are they into martial arts in real life? I don't know how often, like, Ralph Macchio or William, but obviously they have, you can tell the people that have some kind of thing. Like, John Kreese, I don't think is a martial artist. But the guy playing Terry Silver is still throwing some kicks and shit. I mean, they're a little bit older, though. Bob says, 4th season is meh. My wife and I agree with you. Season 1 is the best. Now it's like a bad CW soap opera type show, and they threw in harsher language because that will appeal to a wider audience. I've heard some of that criticism for this one, so I still like it. Annie Tori is crazy, especially if she's hot, says Joram. Brando says Tori is pretty hot, but not gonna lie, she is crazy. Yeah, but the show, I'm going to be honest with y'all, and Cobra Kai is ridiculously dumb, and it's always been ridiculously dumb. It's always been cheesy. It's always been stupid. It's always been, I mean, that's what it's always been, but it knows it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's leaning into it, man. I don't know, man. I'm a mark for Cobra Kai, I'll tell you that. Patrick's Garage 94 says, absolutely loved Season 4 of Cobra Kai. Really glad Netflix didn't kill the series after acquiring it from YouTube. I agree. Lost in Comics says, I love the slow burn evolution of Silver. Masterful. I agree. Like, by the end of it, he's about ready to just be like, and he's saying that shit slowly, like, man can't see, man can't fight. Like, and I remember loving Karate Kid 3 when I was a kid, but when I rewatched it, bro, couple weeks ago, I was just like, this movie is so stupid. It was so stupid, but I loved it, man. Thomas Ian Griffith was a writer and story editor on Grimm. He's been writing and producing this whole time. Okay. Hey, Station Twitch, how you doing? Station. It's dumb, yes, but we love it. Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, like that school fight and just the way they respond to that, like, I don't know. I love all of it. Now, there's some new characters introduced in this season that I really liked. Well, mostly it was the kid that the LaRusso kid is bullying. That's a weird journey. Sometimes I think some of these people learn karate and get too athletic too quick. But I mean, honestly, how long was Daniel learning karate in the first Karate Kid? Like 6 months, maybe at the most. But I like it. So 4 you digs. I would give the first season 4.5. I'd give the second one 4. I'd give the third one about like the low end of 4.5, and I give this one a 4 you digs. So overall, the show has a 4.369 average for me. But anyway, that's what I think about Cobra Kai Season 4. Do they show that plant tree looking thing? Yeah, the bonsai tree? Yeah, it's a big factor still. It's still in there. I like the show when it's focusing more on Miggy and Johnny. And that is getting a bit CW-y, a bit melodramatic, but par for the core. Yeah, season 2 was okay until the end. Like, they really pulled it together at the end. Like a 15-minute fucking Power Rangers fight in the high school, basically. Yeah, you could literally, like, I think it would be brilliant if they, like, whenever they want to wrap up Cobra Kai, season 5, season 6, whatever the fuck, whenever Hilary Swank shows up, that's the last fucking season. You get what I'm saying? Oh, also at the end of the season, where Daniel's now bringing in Chosen to help him. I think that's going to be fucking dope. Like, I rewatched Karate Kid 2. That was actually, I rewatched that on, like, Christmas Eve. And that movie fucking holds up. Karate Kid 2 is fucking good. Not as good as the first one, but it's still really fucking good. Karate Kid 3 is not good, but it is fucking fun. But yeah, when they bring in Hilary Swank, that's the last season, and it should end with Zordon showing up, being like, we need 5 teenagers with attitude. Robbie, Miggy, Tori, Tori's Yellow Ranger, Sam would be Pink Ranger, Robbie would be the Green Ranger, Miggy's gonna be Miggy's gonna be Red Ranger, Dimitri's gonna be the Blue Ranger, and Hawk's gonna be the Black Ranger. They all white? No, Miggy's not white. Okay, I guess that works. Probably work on that a little bit, but part 1 will always be the best. Yeah, I agree. All right. Cobra Kai is about karate. It's not about kung fu, but we're about to move on to some kung fu stuff. So I'm going through my journey with Bob. Bob has given me a list of, well, I don't know what the next movie is. I'm really excited, but I've been watching some really great Hong Kong cinema, some kung fu cinema that have been recommended to me by Bob. And tonight we're going to be talking about the 1993 film Iron Monkey. And I'm not an expert on this stuff. I don't claim to be. But if Bob is still here, yeah, Elizabeth Shue was at the end of season 3, and that shit was like, emotionally wise, that's some of the core of, like, that episode with her and Johnny on the date at Christmas. That's like top-notch, peak level Cobra Kai shit right there. Anyway, we're about to talk about Iron Monkey. So Iron Monkey was released in 1993. I guess that's the original release, but you can see here on this poster, it says Quentin Tarantino presents, and it says more fun than Crouching Tiger. So I think that there was I remember when this came out, but there was like an English dub of this that came out. I watched the original, I think, Cantonese version with the subtitles. That's the way I like to do these things, but it's got Donnie Yen in it. I do not remember the name of anybody else that's in it. Donnie Yen, when I first started watching this, I knew who he is, but I thought that he was going to be the Iron Monkey. He's not. But the Iron Monkey is this dude, and there's Donnie Yen right there with the Iron Monkey. And Iron Monkey is basically a very Robin Hood type character. He's stealing from this like corrupt government official that's running this town. It's like set in the 1800s. And the famous folk hero of China that Jet Li plays in Once Upon a Time in China, which I haven't seen, but I know of that character. I know of that figure. Donnie Yen is playing his father. So that kid is actually, so that folk hero is in this movie as a kid. And that's interesting. So anyway, the Iron Monkey's kind of like a vigilante, kind of like a Robin Hood character. And Donnie Yen's character gets kind of tasked by this evil government official to find the Iron Monkey and bring him into justice. And he kidnaps his kid, who's going to be eventually Jet Li in Once Upon a Time in China. He kidnaps his kid, and then the kid gets sick and winds up going to live with this doctor, and the doctor just happens to be the damn Iron Monkey. Anyway, so I like the story. I thought it was fine. I thought the story was a very strong element in this movie. Donnie Yen does great in the film for what he's doing. The fighting is okay. Like, what I'm coming to love about these films is the fight style, this, like, the hero, their interpretation of the hero's journey. And it works really well here. I like it. I love the guy who's playing the Iron Monkey. Yeah, Bob's gonna give me all the information here. But Bob, what is the name of the dude who plays this guy, the Iron Monkey? He's really great in the movie. He's my favorite character in the movie. I really like him. I really like the lady that he saves that's like living with him. And at the end, him and Donnie Yen are kind of both the Iron Monkey, and that's kind of a cool bit there. But there's the kid right there. I heard that this is actually a woman, like a young lady playing this character, which is interesting. Bob says the kid is the famous hero from China, Wang Fei Hung, and the kid who played Wang Fei Hung is actually a girl. Yeah, there you go, right there. And I do agree, the original without the dubbing is the best. But I like the kid in the movie. So the kid has an interesting relationship with the father, and the father has a relationship with this dude who's the Iron Monkey. And then there's, the villainous type stuff. The fighting is all right. I mean, the fighting is good. What I don't like about it is in a lot of these movies, they kind of speed up the fighting. In this one, the sped up nature of the fighting really threw me out of it. And it kind of like bothered me a little bit. And I know a lot of these movies have like these overly comedic elements that cause like a tonal clash. And this one, I don't know, man. There's more of the humor here kind of threw me off a little bit. The sped up action, the villain, this dude who's like another top government official who shows up and he's got this like poison fist, like poison palm kind of technique. I loved him. I thought that he was great. So overall, I thought the movie was pretty solid. I didn't like the super sped up action. I didn't like some of the comedic nature of it. I would have liked a little bit more development of the characters. We had plenty of it, but it just wasn't kind of balanced in the right way. But overall, I really like this movie. And Iron Monkey is played by Rongguang Yu, says Bob. Sorry if I'm butchering that name. But Iron Monkey overall, I liked it, but I was expecting to like it a little bit more. I'll give this one 3.5 you digs out of 5. What do you think about Iron Monkey? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you rate it out of 5 you digs? Yeah, the governor hoarding all the resources and all that stuff. And Figure Drawing says, no, Robbie didn't super dig Iron Monkey. I didn't. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fine. I might like it and appreciate it more on a rewatch, but compared to some of the other ones I watched, it just didn't quite hit me as hard as, say, 36 Chambers Shaolin or Hero. And Kung Fu Hustle. Those have been the 3 so far that are damn masterpieces. So, Iron Monkey, I liked it. I thought it was solid. I thought it was a good movie. 3.5 is a good score. But I just don't think it hit a level that other people did. So I liked it, though. The sped up action was on point for me anyway, says Figure Drawing. I get that. There was something about it. Like, I've seen the sped up action in these movies, and it doesn't, like, in this one, though, there's something about it. Like, I was like, this choreography is so good, and it's directed by the guy who choreographed The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, right? I don't remember his name, but there was just something about the sped up nature of this one that felt cartoony, and the movie was trying not to be cartoony. And that's something with a lot of these like Hong Kong movies, is that like there's a tonal clash, right? And maybe it's just a cultural thing. But for the most part, I liked this movie. I thought it was great. I'm going to watch it again, but for me, just a 3.5. Bob says, that's fair. The speeding up of the film is something I was used to by that time it came out, so I can see your point. Wu Ping. Okay, there you go. Thank you, guys. I haven't seen Fearless. Joram says, it's a solid 4 you digs. You have like that Buddha palm, the poison palm or whatever it's called. Really good stuff. But now I'm eager to know, Bob, Sensei, I'm mixing metaphors again. What's the next movie? After Iron Monkey, what's the next one? I'm ready. I'm ready for the next movie. And I think, and here's the thing that's making me even more excited. As I'm doing these movie reviews, based on recommendations from Bob, he's paying attention to this shit, right? And he's going to start figuring out what I really like and what I don't really like. And he's about to start, I think, he's about to really start. I think he's got enough information now to know what I really like about Kung Fu movies. And I think he's about to start being able to curate a really slam bang, fantastic fucking list. I view Iron Monkey as a cartoon in the first place. That is how over the top it was. Yes, it is very cartoonish. It's comic booky. It's a superhero movie is basically what it is. William says Lady Snowblood, Bob. I keep hearing Lady Snowblood every week we do this. I keep hearing that one. Keep hearing it in a lot of different spots in my life, too. All right, while Bob is thinking about what the next movie is for me, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. When we come back, Marvel in the 80s, a special surprise, a little bit of show and tell, and all of that jazz. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live, y'all. Welcome back, everybody, to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups, and we're going to be talking about movies, pop culture, comic books, a whole lot more tonight. We've already done a whole lot of show tonight. We are now in the third act. Welcome, everybody. I will say this real quick. Join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. We're also on Instagram. You can follow me over at Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so with Super Chat, or you can join us over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP Patreons right there. Join me on the EXP tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central Time. If you're at Dynamic Forces, be sure to enter Robbie at your cart to receive 10% off. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, PCP Movie Night returns for 2022. We're going to be talking about Brazil, and then Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night, talking about Lake Placid. All right, we've had a great show already. How's everybody doing? What do you want to chat about? We're in the last bit. We got a Marvel in the 80s coming up. We got a special bonus surprise. New segment debuting. Y'all don't even know. Fable knows. Steph knows. Herm, no. Maybe they told Herm. I don't know. They know. Verno knows. Dylan knows. Haven't seen Dylan tonight. Yeah. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Let's look at the chat. Bob says, your next mission, if you so choose to accept it, is Invincible Shaolin. All right. I accept. Invincible Shaolin. Let's take a look at that real quick. It's a 1978 film. All right, where can I watch it? Well, I have to rent it. Okay, well, I'll get it. Cool. Going back to the 70s. Bob says, we will get to Lady Snowblood, but it is not a kung fu movie. It's samurai. Okay. Chill Out Mill says, Rob, you got me on that Kids Melting in the Classroom comic. Dissolving Classroom is awesome. That book was amazing. Third Rail says, somebody needs to get Rockin' Robbie some nunchucks for next Christmas. Okay. I would love some. I had some when I was a kid. Every kid in the 80s had some. Ooh, it stars the Venoms. Hell yeah. Robbie, did you hear about Sidney Poitier? Did you have a favorite of his films? I did hear. Sad loss, of course. Favorite of his films? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? I mean, that's a really great film. I saw that in the theater a couple years ago on like a Fathom event. So I would pick that one. Robbie, if you have one pick of any ninja weapons, what is it? Nunchucks. I'm a Michelangelo fan. Come on. Come on. Do I have any CGC comics? I have one. It was a gift to me. It's a 9.2 Venom Lethal Protector #1 gold foil edition. It's in the closet. I only have the one. It was a gift. I'm not really a CGC kind of guy. Even my Doctor Doom first appearance is not CG'd because I like to flip through it. And hey, if anybody wants, cartoonist kayfabe, Jim, Ed, if you guys want, I'll head up to Pittsburgh one day. I'll bring my Doctor Doom first appearance, Fantastic Four #5. We can go through it. We can go through it. Just putting that out there. Figure Drawing says Ito is the man. Yeah, I got one I'm going to watch this week to film a video for. I'm going to watch. I'm going to read Censor, because it's another like smaller one. I'm going to check that one out. And Robbie's Reads every Friday morning. This week we got Daniel Klaus's Poussey, a scathing criticism of the comic industry. What's my favorite kung fu comic? Firepower. Firepower currently. I really do like the Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker, Iron Fist stuff, but I think Firepower is pretty good. So, I mean, I can't think of too many off the top of my head right now, but I'd go with that one right now. Are nunchucks still illegal in California? I think Enter the Dragon caused that. I don't know, but maybe. Yeah, every kid in the nunchucks had nunchucks in the 80s. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going on a kung fu journey. That's right. Here in Asia. I have a slabbed werewolf by night 32, my most prized possession. Hell yeah, brah. That book's hot right now, too. Very hot. I need to do a deep dive into some old school Moon Knight. I've never really read a lot of old school Moon Knight. My first Moon Knight stuff was Round Robin and Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Bagley. I think David Michelini was doing it then still. Night Thrasher was there. Nova, Punisher. But Moon Knight. That was my first Moon Knight. Tried reading some of the 90s Moon Knight stuff. Didn't really work for me. Tried to read the Civil War Moon Knight stuff. Didn't really work for me. And Moon Knight never really worked for me until Warren Ellis and Jeff Lemire. And currently the Jed McKay run. Really liking it. But I do want to go back to the old school. What is it? Is it Doug Mink and Bill Sienkiewicz and shit? Bro, that Iron Fist WB show was so bad I can't get down with him at all. You mean the Netflix show? Yeah, at least it was reliably bad, though. Big Herm says everyone was a ninja for Halloween as a kid back then. Hell yeah. Nova69, dude, says, I remember cutting my hockey stick in half in the 80s and making a set of nunchucks with them. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. We now pause for station identification. All right, we're back. Getting set up here. All right. Robbie, where were you when everybody was kung fu fighting? Everybody was kung fu fighting. And it was fast as lightning. Yeah, 80s Moon Knight was Mink and Bill Sienkiewicz. Awesome shit. Hell yeah, there's some epic collections that just got reprinted. I might have to check those out. What year are we at for the top 5 movies? We would be at 73, but we're not doing a top 5 tonight. I got something different I wanted to do. But before we get to that, it's time to go back. How far back in time? To the 1980s. It's time to look back in the catalog of Marvel Comics, further than the 90s this time. It's time for Marvel in the 80s. And tonight we're talking about Wolverine by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. That's right, the 4-issue miniseries Wolverine, the first solo book for a fan favorite character, Logan, and really elaborating in on this character. First of all, let's talk about that team. We got Chris Claremont, Frank Miller. They came up with this idea while they were driving back from San Diego Comic-Con. They started talking about the character Wolverine. Frank Miller said, I don't really want to do anything about a berserker. All that Wolverine that he knew was that he was just this berserker kind of guy. And Chris Claremont told him, no, he's kind of like a failed samurai. He's got this Ronin like quality to him, and that really obviously appealed to the sensibilities of Frank Miller. The artwork is amazing. You got Joe Rubinstein doing the finishing here, the inking, and I really like his work on top of Frank Miller's breakdowns and pencils. And the coloring by Lynn Varley, and I cannot remember the other colorist. There's 2 colorists in this book, which I think is interesting, and it's hard to pick out who did what, but I really like this book. I have not read this in years, so this was really fantastic to revisit. I revisited this in the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1. Look at that amazing picture of Mariko. So the basic story is this. Wolverine finds out that Mariko, the love of his life, who had been introduced into Claremont X-Men stuff, she's getting married. So Wolverine What does he do? He heads straight to Japan, and he's like, what the hell is up? He's got a secret agent friend. He's kind of like his Felix to his James Bond, if you know what I'm talking about. And he finds out that Mariko's been married to this dude, and he's beating her, right? And it's an arranged marriage by her father. Her father's like corrupt. He's using his head as this familial clan to like consolidate power in the Japanese underworld. And dude, her husband is just a piece of shit, and Wolverine wants to kill him, but he's got to show honor for Mariko, right? Even though he just wants to take care of it, right? So then he gets challenged to a fight by Mariko's father, who of course is this like Japanese crime kingpin type character, and Wolverine's taking it easy on him. In fact, this dude won't even use a metal sword on him because he says he's not worthy. That leads to the thematic material of what's going on in this book. This is the first time they're really trying to dive deep into the character of Wolverine, and they're taking him through the ringer here. He starts high, he goes so low, and he rises back up. So in this fight, the whole point is to show that he has no honor to Mariko and to just bust him up. But he gets saved by this mysterious woman named Yukio, right? So Yukio, who has a major crush for Logan, saves him. They get attacked by the Hand, right? Turns out the Hand works for Mariko's father, right? So you got all this kind of stuff going on. By the way, I think this is the only double-page spread in the entire 4 issues, but this is just majestic. This looks amazing. Then you move on, Yukio and Wolverine, they're fighting against the Hand. They team up with each other. He's still hung up on Mariko. Turns out that Yukio works for Mariko's father. So she's actually been tasked to kill Wolverine, but she's starting to fall for him. And so then you have this conflict that starts getting brewed up, right? Now another fight between Wolverine and the minions of Mariko's father. In front of Mariko, she sees him go full on berserker. All hope is lost at this point. So then we go into the 3rd issue where Wolverine is just done. He realizes that he's messed up. He's a monster. He's an animal. He's no good. And he's just going to wind up bumming around with Yukio, basically sleeping around, getting into bar fights, all this kind of stuff. Then the Hand shows up again. But now the Hand is also after Yukio because she is not fulfilling her mission to kill Logan. She's actually, shacking up with him, doing the deeds, somebody gonna knock in her boots. All of that jazz. But he in a moment of getting knocked the fuck out, he says, Mariko, and she just kicks him and leaves his ass there. I love it. Also, notice some of the interesting panel composition and design layout from Frank Miller. Lots of use of negative space, and Chris Claremont, who gets so criticized for being an overly verbose writer, there are moments where it looks like it, but it flows so freaking well, and he's been, of course, in the 80s, worked with some of the best artists, including Frank Miller and Joe Rubinstein here. But his best friend, his Felix to his James Bond, got killed by Yukio. So now he's on a mission, hunting her down. Look at that page. Look at the coloring. Look at the background. Come on, y'all. That's amazing. He hunts her down. Then he winds up fighting against the Hand again, coming up against Mariko's father. Some great choreographed action sequences here. Frank Miller does this the best. He did this amazingly in his Daredevil run, and it's on display here. And at the end of the 3rd issue, Wolverine realizes, you know what? I still got honor. I'm still a man. I'm going to stand the fuck up and do what's right regardless. Great rendering on that face right there. Then we go into the next issue, and it's just such a slam bang fantastic book, man. A great finale to this whole thing, though it does kind of end rather abruptly. We'll get into that. So Wolverine gets a bunch of weapons. He's going to go and tear ass against the Hand and against Mariko's father and do what's right. And in this whole shebang, Yukio shows back up, trying to take care of Wolverine. She winds up killing Mariko's husband. So now she has freed Mariko to have a relationship with Wolverine. We'll get to that in just a moment. Notice the composition there again. The panel layouts, the design. Then we got a final battle between Mariko's father and Wolverine here. This time he does deem him worthy of having a metal blade, and it's a great choreographed, great widescreen fight that we see in Frank Miller's type stuff in this era. And dude, the way it ends, he just puts his fist up to his face, and then that panel where you just get the sneaked. Come on. That's amazing. He's worried now that he's disgraced to Mariko, but she says he dishonored the family name. I'm the leader of the clan now. You did what was right. And it ends with him sending an invitation to his wedding to the X-Men. And of course, it continues on into 2 random issues of the X-Men. Spoilers, the wedding doesn't quite work out. Dude, Frank Miller, Chris Claremont, this was such a great book, a great defining moment for the character of Wolverine, a great journey, and a really solid art, like just really great artwork. The way it's rendered, expertly done, freaking fantastic. So I read mine in this Wolverine omnibus right there. I've never had the original issues. They used to be affordable, not so much anymore. This is, though, it builds the connection of Wolverine to Japan. It establishes out more of this tragic romance with Mariko, which is teased, but then really kind of goes here. The character Wolverine was kind of two-dimensional until this book, and this book gave so much for Claremont and other writers, including Larry Hama, to pull from in the Wolverine solo series going forward from 87 and onward. It was smack dab in the middle of this. I'm loving this omnibus, by the way. It's kind of bridged out chronologically. Right after the Wolverine issues, it has the 2 issues of Uncanny X-Men where the X-Men show up for the wedding, which, of course, doesn't go down. But what a great book, man. Like, and I was watching the cartoonist Kayfabe. They did, it was Ed and Tom were on that one. And they were talking about how this is kind of like the undersung Frank Miller work. Like, everybody always kind of puts it on the back burner compared to, say, Daredevil or his Batman work or things like that, right? But the art is really freaking good in this book. And when you add in the idea of the influence of that conversation that Frank Miller and Chris Claremont had on that car ride up from San Diego Comic-Con, those 2 minds coming together to craft a story that not only started filling in some of who the character of Wolverine is, right? And he's not quite the stoic Wolverine yet. And I mean stoic in the true, meaning, right, of stoicism, right? This is the start of that. This is where he makes that commitment. I love the book. It's a great journey, a great look. The first Wolverine solo series, I freaking love it. I'm going to give that book a 4.5, you digs. What do you give it? Let me know in the chat, in the comments down below. And this has been Marvel in the what? Marvel in the 80s. That was a fun one. So yeah, this is probably going to be the first omnibus I make all the way through. Freaking great stuff. I read it for the first time in a trade paperback form in the 90s. And that was probably the last time I've read that. So that was real cool. Next up will be the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine series. I've never read that either. That's Chris Claremont and Al Milgrom, I believe. Yeah. Some good stuff in here. I got volume 1 and I got volume 2. I haven't read that in over 20 years, y'all. Bob says, for me, it was so freaking awesome at the time because Miller was still doing his Daredevil run that year when this came out. Yeah, was that 82, 83, something like that? Nova69 says, for me, it's 5, you digs. Figure Drawing says, I foresee Robbie and Kayfabe teaming up sooner rather than later. That is going to rock. I hope so. Love those dudes. Verno says, 4.5 seems about right. Great bit, bro. Thank you so much. Bob says, it was a great time for comics. Right on, Nova. Hell yeah. Is John Buscema in that omnibus? Yes. The Marvel Comics Presents and the first 10 issues of the ongoing solo series. Can't stand the art in that Kitty Pryde series. Really? I like the art, but what I flipped through. 1982. There we go. Yeah, I love the cover. There's 2 covers. Oops, excuse me. You can get, I said excuse me to the desk. Maybe to the omnibus. So that I got the original cover by Frank Miller, but there's a Steve McNiven cover. That's pretty cool too. What I love about, at least the one I got, is that when you pull off the dust cover, slip cover, you have that and you have the redo. But yeah, that's a classic, iconic fucking cover right there. I'd love a poster of that. Print. I'd love to meet Frank Miller. But that's he's got monumental work on Daredevil and on Batman and, of course, on indie comics with things like Martha Washington and 300 and Sin City. But his influence on Wolverine, I mean, like, these 4 issues, how many Wolverine stories go based on all that? Like, that's the start of so much shit. Big Herm says 5, you digs. Figure Drawing says 4.5, you snicks. Jacques says Wolverine in Japan equals fire. The Castle Grayskull behind you is tremendous, yes. It's one of my prized possessions. AC says, I remember. AC? Like Slater? What's the AC stand for? Absolutely charming. I remember when Wolverine Mini #1 came out and the shop that I bought it from is still in business. Station for that. Fuck yeah. 40 years later, man. That book's 40 years old this year. Holy shit. Doing a review, Miller's Ronin. Oh, I love Ronin. I haven't read Ronin in forever. I've recently tracked down all the Martha Washington singles, so I'm going to do something for that. And but Ronin is something I definitely do want to go back into. Because I was even more reminded about it because I was flipping through those New Mutants books by Rob Liefeld I was talking about, and in issue, 100? And I was flipping through it because of the kayfabe video that they did. But there's like a straight up like lift from Ronin. Verno says, just bought Ronin today. Yeah, we may have to do it on Comics Revisited, Verno. Just may have to. Got to get that. Wolverine is the man. Can't never die. Doesn't get better than that. Yeah, I agree. This is a great omnibus, too, if you are not familiar with it. So it starts with the Weapon X Barry Windsor Smith stuff. And I've been reading through this and covering it here on the show. But it starts with Weapon X, and that goes right into the first appearance issues in Hulk. And then that goes into this one, into this miniseries. And then it's got those Uncanny X-Men's. Then it's got the Kitty Pryde in the Wolverine book. It's got the Captain America annual with the Mike Zeck cover. It's got the Spider-Man versus Wolverine. I have that original issue somewhere too. That's the issue where Ned Leeds dies. It's got Incredible Hulk 340. Then it's got all the Marvel Comics Presents that were done leading up to the ongoing series, which it has the first 10 issues of, I believe. Excuse me, desk. Did you get the Jim Lee cover for the #2 omnibus? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I can go grab it, but I'm pretty sure I did. Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure. All right, it's time for a very special treat. This is a brand new segment. We're going to be doing this every single week, y'all. I'm really pumped for this. All right. We're going to go episode by episode, week by week, through X-Men, the animated series. That's right. That's right. The 90s X-Men animated series. We're about to fucking get into it from 1992. And we're going to go one episode at a time. But tonight, since it's the first night, we are going to do 2 episodes. We're going to talk about the pilot, y'all. Night of the Sentinels. Y'all ready? I know you remember this. You know, I didn't give you a heads up. I wanted it to be a surprise. But it's time for a segment that I like to personally call an annotation on X-Men animation. All right, y'all, let's talk about Night of the Sentinels. This is the very beginning of X-Men, the animated series. So it debuted Halloween 1992. The second episode was the very next week. And then it fully came on like a couple months later, like in the beginning of 93. That's when the show really kind of took off. This is X-Men to an entire generation. People that were brought into the X-Men by like Giant Size X-Men #1, or say like the Claremont run thereafter, like this brought so many people in, right? And then there was X-Men #1 by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont, and this was right after that, like a couple years. They were using those characters. Oh my goodness, y'all. I rewatched Night of the Sentinels. Let's get into it. So first of all, we got an opening shot that's got a couple little Easter eggs there. We got Sabretooth being captured. So we're introduced to the idea of mutants being kind of hunted or feared by humanity, right? And the audience's guide into this world is Jubilee. Jubilee is targeted by the mutants. She's at a mall. Therefore, Storm and Rogue are at the mall. They decide to protect Jubilee. They get wrapped up into the conflict. Gambit is also there. Jubilee then gets taken to the X mansion, explained who the X-Men are. She gets introduced to this cast of characters, including Morph, who was created for this show just to die. And basically what happens is they decide, they realize through this head that's been decapitated from a Sentinel that the files that they are basing their mission on are from the Mutant Registration, which is not necessarily a government agency in the show, but connected to the government in some kind of way. They go to destroy these files. They lose Beast and Morph. Morph dies. Beast gets captured. And Wolverine and Cyclops, they have beef over that, right? X-Men don't cut and run. I love it, man. Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. Then they eventually go back. They save Jubilee and all this stuff, but it builds up Henry Gyrick. What a great show. I absolutely love X-Men, the animated series. I love Night of the Sentinels. I had the Pizza Hut VHS of this, and I watched this shit so many damn times, right? And I was waiting to find the comic book where I learned why Morph and Wolverine were such best friends. This was such a great freaking debut to a pretty awesome series. Now, let's be honest. The animation was never the best on this show, right? If you compare it to things that were out at the time, Batman, the animated series, Ren and Stimpy, other things, Simpsons was going on, the animation on this never really quite worked. In fact, I actually heard that they reanimated some of the early episodes, and that's what we're seeing now on the DVDs and all that kind of shit. So I got the DVD collection of all five seasons or whatnot, but got it with the slip, embossed, chromium slip, very appropriate for the X-Men. This was the perfect time, though, man. Right, hot off the heels of the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont relaunch of X-Men #1. Then you bring in this show, you take those popular characters. Gambit was still new. You get what I'm saying? Jubilee was still kind of new. And using Jubilee as the Kitty Pryde, because if you want to look in Pride of the X-Men, which was a failed X-Men pilot that happened a few years before this. I love that. I had that on VHS too. I wore the shit out of that. Maybe we'll cover that one day, right? But Kitty Pryde was the focal point for the audience to be introduced to this world. They did that here with Jubilee. They did it in the X-Men movie with Rogue, and it works so well here. I love it. I love, even though the animation's kind of quirky, I love that they're building up these things. We got cameos in here. They don't get to use all the different mutants in this series, but they get to have cameos by so many. We get to see Domino. We get to see Cannonball, and we see, who else do we see? I know that we see Magneto a little bit. There's someone else. You just see them the tiniest little bit on monitors. And that's something that they would continually do with X-Men the Animated Series. I love the music in this. There's these just ominous tones or something that are playing in certain scenes. The soundtrack to it takes me back. It takes me back to those Pizza Hut VHS days. It takes me back to watching it at 10:30 or 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings on Fox. I loved the hell out of this show, and I love revisiting it. And Night of the Sentinels is such a great story because it introduces you to the concept. It introduces you to the gravity of the situation, the death of Morph, right? The idea that they're dealing with things about racism. They're dealing with themes of racism and segregation and hate, right? And there's my Morph action figure, by the way, right back there. But I absolutely freaking love it. I think that X-Men, the animated series, is not the strongest series of the 90s, but I really applaud that they at least try to make it look like a comic book. The animation is not as good or as sophisticated as some of the things that were contemporary with it. But they were able to build up stories, and not in an obnoxious way like the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, where it's good, but like sometimes it's like, bruh, I'm just catching this randomly on a Saturday. I didn't catch the first 8 fucking parts of this story. X-Men was able to build up on continuity, pick up things from the Claremont era, simplify them, and put them out there in a very easily digestible way for an audience that was made of kids and adults. So it did do what it was supposed to do. It could have broken more ground through innovation and animation, but it didn't. And that wasn't the point. But it was building up on the story, building up on these characters. In this first episode, Wolverine is there, right? I go where I want to go. His feud with Cyclops, it's there. The Beast telling his jokes. Even the introduction of Morph, a character that they just killed, like they just made to kill. And yes, Twitch, spoilers, he's not dead. And one of my favorite things about this Morph figure is he's got the evil Morph head right there. Totally got to open this, but I got to have it. I got to have one on card. It took them forever to make this damn figure, by the way. For fucking ever. Anyway, this is what we're going to be doing now, week to week. Next week, we're going to be talking about episode 3 of X-Men, the animated series. So if you got the DVD, or if you got the old school VHSs, or if you got Disney Plus, watch along with us. Check out Night of the Sentinels, then watch the 3rd episode. That's Enter Magneto, right? Yes. You're a fool, Charles. Such a freaking great. And I'm excited to be doing this. We're going to do this every single Rockin Robbie live. We're going through it. X-Men, the animation. Come on, y'all. It's an annotation on X-Men animation. So next week, join us for Enter Magneto. They also had a comic of the TV show. Yes, they did. X-Men Adventures. I think I have almost a near complete run of that. I have to get all, like I said, I got to get all my shit together. Pizza Hut VHS is greater. Yes, because it has the conversations between, I think it's Bob Harris, Scott Lobdell, Fabian Nicieza, and Stan Lee. Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. Hell yeah. Every time I think of Wolverine or Apocalypse, I think of their voices from the show. Absolutely. Yes, they are bringing it back. X-Men 97, right? Man, I just want to play it again. I really like this bit right here. An annotation on X-Men animation. Last night when I was talking about it to Steph and Fable and Verno, they were like, do you have a name yet? I was like, no, not yet. So that's the best I could come up with, but I liked it. Yeah, I love all the cameos too, man. In the first one, God, there's another one. So there's Domino. You see Domino and Cannonball, and you see Magneto, but there's another one too. I'm going to look it up. God damn it. I'm gonna look it up. That's what I'm trying to do. Here we go. Let's see. What? This is not the page I was on earlier. Oh, show me quotes. Some great quotes. I play solitaire unless I got someone to play with. Like, so what's going... Game is trying to, like, make some moves on this chick in a kid show. I love it. It's great. There's somebody else in that first episode, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh, well. Oh, well, it do what it do. Cyclops sucks, yeah. Cyclops pretty lame in this show. That's why I always hated him. The X-Men theme repeatedly plays when I engage in intercourse, says Evil Face Bad. So many of us wouldn't be here without the show, says Verno. You're right. You're 100% right. That brought a lot of people in. It's like right before... Is it another Sabretooth bit? Like they show a clip, like she's walking... Jubilee's walking through the X-Mansion. The monitors come on that shows Domino on one, Cannonball, and then somebody else, and it quickly cuts to Magneto. Is it Sabretooth? I think it might be Sabretooth. Yeah, the voices in the X-Men show, by the way, they're the ones I hear too. It's the voice of Beast, it's the voice of Wolverine, it's the voice of Storm. There's some really great moments in that first episode too. Like honestly, the most nuanced moment in the whole damn thing is when Storm is telling Jubilee who the X-Men are. She's showing her powers. And then she's like, we're here to protect a world that hates and fears us. And Jubilee's like, okay, enough. All right already. And as she's dying down, she just looks up. She goes, but why do they hate us so much? And like, they're pretty fucking powerful for a not so greatly animated 1992, TV show for kids. I found out about the X-Men through Capcom and Konami video games. Then the cartoon came and I loved it. Hell yeah. Cyclops and Jubilee will have new voice actors in X-Men 97. Storm becomes the Morlock leader and she stands down because Calypso she couldn't hang. All right. All right, y'all. It's been a great show coming back in 2022. It's about time for show and tell, though. So, right along with the X-Men theme, look what I got here. I got a Professor X on card. Card's a little bendy. This is going to get opened up one day, probably, y'all. But I loved this figure. Always wanted it when I was a kid. Always wanted a Professor X. The first time you could get this figure was in like a 10-pack of figures that were part of they were connected to a base. Then when they finally released it individually, loved it. Still love it. Very excited to have that. Speaking of cool bald dudes, I got a Charles Barkley, y'all. Check it out. Sixers era. Yep. I got a Philadelphia 76ers era Charles Barkley starting lineup with the Toys R Us sticker. $6.99. That's pretty fucking expensive for like 1992 or whatever the hell it was. So that's dope. Got a trimmer. Got a trimmer on card. You know this is going to get opened up, but not tonight. But yep, there you go. Got a trimmer. All I need is Overkill now, and I have all of the figures from Wave 1. Hats off to Mike the Voice Matthews. Hooked me up with this blaster super early. Just fucking found out this was coming out. Like literally 2 days later, Mike's got it for me. So that's Blaster, the new Hasbro edition. Super excited for that. Also got me my Rumble and Rat Bat. Needed those for my Soundwave, so now I have them. There's some Japanese writing on the back. It's interesting. You guys like comic books? I already showed my Captain Carrot. This was a gift from Nick Barucci, CEO and publisher of Dynamite Entertainment. Got me this Ken Hazer Captain Carrot Multiversity sketch cover. That was great. But I did also get my Elvira Wrath of the Khan. And this was a one-shot comic book that was funded on Indiegogo. That was the only way to get it. So I got that. Haven't read it yet. But I'm excited for it. And a bunch of cool extras here. So let's see what exactly we got. I have not opened up the extras yet. But let's see. We got a postcard. The premise of the story is like Elvira going to Comic-Con or something. So it's a postcard. Pretty cool. And then there's a trading card of that image. And then there's a few more trading cards. There's the trading card of Elvira right there. From the artist. Really cool. Oh, this is cool. There's a few more of these. Promo cards. Yeah, there's 3 of them. 4 of them. So there they are. That's pretty dope, though. But I love this one. It's like badass, like action star Elvira. Let's see that movie, right? And I think a little sticker, Wrath of the Khan. So that's pretty cool. And one more thing. Really excited for this. So I'm a big fan of Peter Baggs' Hate comics from back in the 90s. And in the 80s, the precursor to Hate was Neat Stuff. I have never read this. This collects all 15 issues, but I picked up the complete Neat Stuff hardcover double slipcased edition from Fantagraphics. Really excited to dive into this. I've never read this. I've read sporadic issues of Hate, but I've never read that. So I'm excited to read that and report on to y'all on a Robbie's Reads. So there you go. All right, time for the final 9. Going through the Blu-ray collection. Hulk. We got Planet Hulk. That's a really cool animated movie. I have not seen that in years, as well as this one, Hulk Versus. Y'all remember that one? Like, this one was actually pretty good. Got the slip, of course. Marvel kind of moved away from these things, but they were trying to compete with DC. They were real big at the time, though. The Hunger. My girlfriend Jamie got me into this movie. I had never seen this one. Susan Sarandon, David Bowie. Great vampire movie from the 80s. If you've never seen it, check it out. Hurt Locker. Best Picture winner. Love this film. Catherine Bigelow, director of Near Dark. Ichi the Killer. Takashi Miike. This is basically like a Joker movie. That's really good. And then you love horror movies, you got to check out In Search of Darkness, as well as In Search of Darkness 2. 2 great documentaries, each over 4 hours long, about horror movies in the 80s. They're doing a third one. In the Mouth of Madness. Scream Factory Edition, John Carpenter film. And we're wrapping up the final 9 with Inception with the lenticular slip. You know, it's hard to find movies with slips now, but man, back in the day, they used to do lenticular slips, man. Anyway, that's the final 9, which brings us to the end of the show. Great show back, y'all. I hope you're excited for the X-Men animated adventures. We're going to be going through that episode by episode. Very freaking cool. Brando says, Planet Hulk was great. Twitch says, World War Hulk replaced Silver Surfer with Beta Ray Bill. Yeah, they put Silver Surfer in there. Or Beta Ray Bill in there and says Silver Surfer. I think it was like a Fox thing. Everybody's still hollering to bring back the Hellboy song. Well, you know, we got the Snyder Cut. Hashtags work, so just keep throwing them out. Don't just throw them out on Sunday night. Throw them out, throw them out, throw them out. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thank you all for checking out the video. Thanks for rocking with us. Y'all are the best. Rockin Robbie Live for 2022. Big things are happening for PCP, man. We're about to explode. Remember, love each other. Respect each other. Wherever you go, there you are. And above all else, pop, pop, boom! What's up, everybody? How you doing? Oh, you don't like the photo Twitch? Y'all don't like this? That's a soy photo right there. That's a YouTuber photo, man. YouTubers be like, and it's become. I hate to say this, man. It's become my go-to face in pictures for like the last probably 8 years. Like people are like, let's take a picture. I'm like, like. And then people are always like, you look like you're having so much fun in all your pictures. It's because I go, but it's a two-way, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because someone could easily Photoshop a dick in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we're doing a secret unboxing of a vintage Toy Biz figure that I have always wanted, never owned. Now I have it, and I'm ready to do it. This is an on-card. The card is shit, so don't feel bad about me opening it. Look at that warpedness. This is a talking Wolverine. It no longer works. Just so you know. No longer works. But you can replace the battery. But what I love is if you look, this is in the early days of the Toy Biz stuff. That Wolverine figure, which I have, right? I have one on card and I have one loose. And its mask is removable, right? They're actually showing you that figure right there. So on the back of this figure, they're showing you a different figure. But the mask is removable. But when you put the mask on, the eyes are see-through, right? And it always bothered me that the mask wasn't on the character. I love that the mask was removable, but it didn't look like the comic book. Here, the mask is actually permanently on him, and he's got the white eyes, and I've always wanted this, but now that I have it, I notice first and foremost, the color is wrong on the mask. They used the wrong brown. They should be using that more orangey yellow. You see it right there. And they did it on the other figure. So they got the colors right there, but they got the colors wrong here. However, I've always wanted this, and I'm going to open it up right now. This figure is over 20 years old. Love these cards. You know me, y'all. I have almost every single one of these. Very near a complete collection. So first and foremost, yeah, that no longer works. Can you get in there, though? I think you can get in there and change the battery. But regardless, the point was to have this figure finally. And I never saw the back. Look at the back. Is that what the back of Wolverine looks like? Anyway, I always wanted to have this figure with the actual mask on the figure with the white eyes. It's very important to me as a kid. Now I have it. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same figure. Doesn't have the snap-in claws. Doesn't really want to move. Need to move those arms slowly. Legs are moving for the most part. That knee doesn't want to move. Whenever you have these old figures, if a piece doesn't want to move, don't fucking force it. So that knee does not want to move, and this arm does not want to move. So you know what? I don't think they need to move. Man, damn it. That arm might break off if I try too much. I don't want to do that. Okay. I just need to accept that I can't move this arm. That arm, I used to have these Toy Biz figures that would do that, where the arm was super locked in. But regardless, I just need to have this as it is. It really bothers me I can't move that arm. Ah! I was so nervous, but I got it moving. I was so nervous. It's like when you have a piece of candy in your mouth and you're like tired of like sucking on it or something. And you just like bite into it, but you're kind of nervous, like you don't want to crack a tooth. Can I get this leg to bend? Can I get the knee? Oh, that hasn't moved in decades. All right. Everything's fine. These hold up better than the Spawn figures. Pretty dope, though. Yeah. Mission accomplished. It doesn't talk anymore, though. Thank you all. It's been a great show.